Cinebois to Cinemen, episode 91.
91.
Hope you're well, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. This week, Smashing Machine.
Yep, here he is. Right, we've got a guest on today from previous episodes. I believe the last one he did was Iron Claw, so it's rather fitting that you'd be in the next kind of sports movie.
It's your fourth one.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because it was Canon Films first.
Yeah.
Then it was
Denzel,
which is our most popular episode.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Yeah, the Equalizer 3.
15,000 views.
Yeah, well, you know, I do bring a big audience with me.
You do, yeah.
Massive in Peru.
It was exclusively Peruvian listeners, actually, wasn't it? Yeah.
It would add up with the comment we got.
Oh, God. Yeah, they do speak Spanish.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then it was, Iron Claw in this.
Yeah.
Fourth time's the charm.
Well, I think...
Not the other ones weren't great.
Well, I think whenever you want to talk about kind of sculptured Adonis, I mean, who best to get on to kind of discuss it than the man who was kind of, like Dwayne in this film, transformed his body, but whereas he was going for a kind of mixed martial artist, I was going for later life Marlon Brando. But, you know, with a similar commitment and, you know, the proof is in the pudding. So thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, no worries, man.
No,
anytime.
Smash Machine, The Rock.
Yeah.
His kind of... I guess he's got returning from the kind of CGI-drenched...
Abyss
of blockbuster film.
Yeah.
Back down to something... Well, arguably his... You know, I mean... I know he flirted with it before he became this big branded action star, but I think this is his first kind of real stab at a kind of scrappy, more independent fare.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a response to criticism about him and about his conduct and the way he kind of acts on set and all of that. You know, basically news media and the public generally's perception of his gone downhill a little bit.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And so his response is to basically the equivalent of doing like a play or something, like back to your roots. Like, why I love acting, even though he's
basically just doing a Birdman.
Yes, yeah, basically, yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll talk a bit about him, his career, and then of course the film.
Yes.
So all that to look forward to.
Indeed.
Questing the cinematic void.
So The Rock.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've spoken about him for a prolonged period. I think the last time we may have done would have been the Fast and Furious episode we did way back when.
Yeah, and we touched on his public perception then, I think.
Yeah.
Because that was when it was all kicking off.
Yeah, in relation to the kind of presentation of the American action hero and how it's kind of undermining what action cinema should be.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
It was a belter.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, Lee, I'll start with you. I think it's fair to say that for our generation particularly, it's difficult to find someone that wasn't kind of put under his spell a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, yeah. Obviously, one of the reasons you got me on last time with the Iron Claw episode was definitely because I was a big wrestling fan growing up, and I'm still probably a casual wrestling fan now as I'm a bit older. But he was like the first wrestler to kind of successfully like make it in the movies, like on a consistent level. You had Hulk Hogan give it a go. You had Jesse Ventura in a few things, but I don't think anybody kind of had the same kind of charisma that translated so seamlessly from wrestling to cinema. Like in some ways, and it might kind of be seen as a bit kind of sacrilegious as someone who is a big Schwarzenegger fan, but I think in a lot of ways there's a similarity to the kind of screen presence they have. But I'd maybe argue that The Rock has maybe a slightly better acting ability, and that's not a kind of like stab at like Arnie. Like he's
No.
very good at what he does.
Arnie has a more limited set of tools, but arguably knows how to utilize them better.
Yes.
Whereas, no, I would agree with that. Yeah,
and he's got James Cameron as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think The Rock has a James Cameron.
no,
That's the one thing I think Arnie's got under his belt.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But yeah, no, he's like it took him a little while, I think. But you know, because he was working in films kind of consistently for about 10 years until I think like the 5th Fast and Furious movie, which really skyrocketed.
Blew him up. Yeah.
Skyrocketed
You
his
said blew him off then.
yeah.
Skyrocketed.
But you know, listen, what happened on set happened on sets.
Yeah, and NDA hasn't quite expired yet.
No.
No.
We're all watching Tyrese.
Yeah.
Dirty boy. Yeah, I think that was when it kind of really exploded for him, wasn't it? And I think because beforehand, we were sort of chatting a little bit before, but I want to try and save the gold for when the cameras are rolling.
Well,
But it feels like at the start of his film career, obviously he did have that kind of stab at being the big movie star with like The Mummy and The Scorpion King.
Yeah.
But there was almost a sort of slight naivety in him as well. Like I kind of get that from when I watch like Southlandtales. I don't know if I'm thinking too much into it, but
Yeah.
that's like because I was thinking about that quite a bit after I came out of Smashing Machine. So I think that's like the Smashing Machine and Southlandtales are the kind of closest films in terms of performance and kind of playing against type.
Yeah.
And obviously the type as a cinematic star wasn't quite established by Southlandtales,
Yeah.
but his wrestling persona certainly was.
I think in some ways, like his wrestling career kind of mirrors his film career in a way, in that like when he started, like he wasn't that successful. Like he'd be in certain things and they'd be okay. Like nothing kind of hit spectacularly. Like his performance in Southlandtales is like very good, but that film was like a box office like disaster.
sort of unfinished in a way, wasn't it? That one?
Absolutely, and obviously, you know, the director of Donnie Darko basically given all the money and carte blanche to do whatever he wanted, and then as soon as the studios saw it, they were like, "Oh no!"
How wrong they were, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but you know, so you know, he was definitely trying a lot of different things and seeing what stuck, and for a good decade, it didn't. But then all it takes is the right role, the right movie, the right period of time, and all of a sudden, you know, like you hit the big time. And it's a lot like when he started out, like in wrestling. Like at first, he started as like the kind of heroic figure, like the baby face. And like the crowd hated him. They just thought he was really lame. Like the crowd were chanting like "Die Rocky Die," and like all sorts. And you know, all it took is a little kind of change of attitude, kind of looking at his strengths and kind of utilizing them a lot more. And once you got that, and once you know you captured the spirit of like you know who he is and how he's his most charismatic, like he hit the stratosphere, and you know hasn't turned back in his wrestling career, and the same for a while happened with his film career, really.
Yeah, that Southlandtales performance is quite special. But he keeps doing, for audio listeners, I'm sort of putting my fingers together and kind of, he does this strange tick he's got, and it's really like. It's overstated in it. It's sort of meant to be. The whole film is just overstated. Like that's sort of the idea, is the sort of LA excess dripping with like wealth and just
A sort of veneer of apocalypse, isn't there?
Yeah. But like he inhabits that world perfectly, and obviously in the film he's called like Boxer Santuro or something like that. and it's sort of his casting. I mean, Richard Kelly's gone on record saying like he wanted to cast people who he considered to have like hidden talent.
Sean William Scott as well.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar. Obviously, like they are all very talented, but the caliber of, for lack of a better word, content that they were in was like considered lowbrow. Right? Sean William Scott was in loads of sort of like teen comedies. Sarah Michelle Gellar was most famous for Buffy. Not saying Buffy hasn't got its worth, but like it was TV, right? Which at the time was considered like a lot less. And then you got The Rock, that's a wrestler. And again, same thing, culturally speaking, there's a bit of it's all bollocks, but there's a kind of tier there. Film being kind of near the top. Not quite right at the top, like kind of theatre, but it's nearly there. And Richard Kelly kind of brought them to the surface. And this performance, as a result, his performance is just like so, just like one of the best things about the film, I think. Like
him and Sean William Scott, the two best things about the film.
Yeah,
for me,
yeah,
in terms
definitely.
of performance,
and the Moby score as well. Moby's not in it, but
like fuck.
yeah. I've done a little list of selected Dwayne Johnson filmography. Right.
Oh.
Did this at work and nearly dropped it in a client-attended grade session.
Oh wow.
And if they'd found that, I was meant to be. I mean, I did it whilst I was waiting for a render. But if they found that, it'd be like, oh, is this your partial Dwayne Johnson filmography?
I just like to write it out when I'm feeling stressed.
So I got like...
Could have got him on the podcast as well.
yeah. Do you guys want to come? Are you busy later? You are, right. Okay. I thought you might be. Yeah, I've got like... So there's a key here. There's humble bargain bin fun, right? Shite wank is 2. Legendary action is 3. And peak cinema is 4. So Southlandtales is... peak cinema, as is The Smashing Machine and Welcome to the Jungle. Have you ever seen that?
I have. Also a Sean William Scott, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they did that first, actually. That was 2003. Yeah.
And interestingly, obviously, like bringing up Schwarzenegger earlier, there was the literal kind of like passing of the torch moment.
Yeah, he says have fun, doesn't he, in the club? Yeah.
Because that was obviously just as Schwarzenegger was going into politics. So
that's it, yeah.
So it was almost like, here you go, here's the keys. It just took him a little while to get the engine going.
That's it, yeah.
That was a good film.
I really like The Rundown, and that's why I put it on the peak cinema list, along with Fighting with My Family. That made it on there as well. But it has one of the best... sequences in which two people fall down a cliff that I've ever seen. I don't know why, but it just really works. Like the way they filmed it and all the stunts and stuff. Like it's like really, really good. I like the Rundown / Welcome to the Jungle, depending on what territory you're in. I had a lot of fun with it. I saw it at the cinema actually.
How old is that?
2003. So it's a while back.
Wow,
yeah, you can tell because he's got his sort of like hair, still kind of
still holding on to it.
Yeah, and he's a lot leaner as well, comparatively. He's still pretty muscly bloke, but he's still like you can fit into a normal suit, for example.
Right.
I really like that film. It's great.
I think that's what at that period. I think that's why he struggled a little bit because I think he was trying too hard to be like every other kind of actor in Hollywood. And obviously, he didn't want to be like, coming in like, the last big wrestler to try and do movies was Hulk Hogan.
And it worked wonderfully.
Yeah. Everyone remembers Santa with muscles and whatever else he did. Which I think is produced by the Wolf of Wall Street, so that's always a sign of quality.
Oh, well, Jordan Belfort.
Yeah.
Stamp of approval. Yeah.
Some way to launder money.
That is, yeah.
I love the idea that Hulk Hogan was just laundering money. He had no idea. He probably did. Had an idea. He did.
Listen, now when has he ever hung around with a dodgy character?
When he's ever done anything nefarious.
Yeah.
The guy's an American icon.
Yeah, squeaky clean.
Yeah.
Almost virginal, Hulk Hogan.
But I think, I think he didn't want to just come in as this, like, like beefcake guy, just kind of, not making an effort to kind of integrate. But maybe in a way, that was also a detriment because he did just become like, any other kind of like, I don't know, like muscular Hollywood actor, and
bargain
maybe
bin, a bit bargain bin.
Yeah,
I'd say.
not picking great movies and kind of just almost drifting in a way.
Like Walking Tall.
Yeah,
Where have you
that's
got
on
that?
That is on Shite Wank.
Shite Wank.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it because you prefer the one with Kevin Sorbo?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought as much.
Well, I
I've
think
got a
that
Kevin
about
Sorbo
anything,
list here, actually.
Yeah, just like flat rolls down.
Yeah. That's the Shite Wank.
Go on, keep going. I'm enjoying this.
Okay, all right. So I've got. It's not all of them.
Okay.
It's only a few of them. Humble Bargain with Fun. I'll go through those first,
Go
right?
on.
You got The Mummy Returns, I think.
Okay.
A bit of a blockbuster, but it relegated, I feel.
Yeah, I'd give you that. Yeah.
Scorpion King.
Yeah, I'd say that maybe lower. Personally,
Right. More towards Shite Wank.
I think so.
Okay. I've got a soft spot for those.
Mummy,
Yeah,
I'm with
yeah.
you. Yeah.
But it isn't great. It's pretty, yeah. Rampage, Skyscraper. They're both on Humble Bargain, been fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle as well. Although that actually did really well financially, but again, I just feel like since the theatrical release, it's sort of relegated.
Yeah,
maybe.
it's disappeared, isn't it?
Yeah. Shite Wank is Walking Tall, Doom, Gridiron Gang, Snitch, Race to Witch Mountain, The Tooth Fairy, Red Notice, Red One, Black Adam, and Jungle Cruise.
I would. Yeah, I saw Black Adam quite recently, and I just staggered by how crap it was.
Yeah, it's not great.
I still haven't had the misfortune
Have you
of
not?
watching that one yet.
I think that was the film that because I think when we be jumping a little bit further into his career here towards the kind of the sort of the descent a little bit, but I do think that it was like obviously the well publicised bust up amongst the cast of Fast and Furious, which I would never have attributed solely to The Rock anyway. I think it's just a lot of fragile Hollywood egos butting heads, basically.
That's it, yeah.
But I think his attempt to kind of like jam his way into this kind of already kind of stumbling cinematic universe and almost take the reins off it and control it.
Yeah.
I think that was something that again didn't bode well for his kind of image, because he's always sort of framed himself as a kind of like humble, despite all of the trappings of Hollywood and the sort of stratospheric nature of his presence.
Like Make-A-Wish kind of guy.
Right. Like, it didn't matter. No matter how high he was, he still had his feet firmly planted on the ground.
Yeah.
And I think that was a kind of illusion that he was allowed to perpetuate for a long time. But obviously, after Fast and Furious, that became quite difficult for him.
Yeah.
He was always quite a savvy operator when it come to kind of like social media and self-promotion and kind of the way he would carry himself. And hearing like whoever's right or wrong, but hearing the kind of rumblings of like issues kind of behind the scenes, like I think it kind of pulled the curtain back a little bit and just like, maybe
he's just a human.
Oh, absolutely.
Who's warped by the trappings of mega stardom.
He's sort of more owned than we thought he was.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
his social media became very sort of studio centric for a while. That and it's not whiskey, is it? What's tequila? Yeah, it's just that and just promoting, calling Red One our little Christmas movie, like 250 million quid.
And that is a fucking piece of shit film.
Yeah, like really.
I usually don't like saying that about any film.
Yeah,
but my God.
And
so bad.
Just him sort of defending it and clearly being under contract to really did something to his image. It really kind of I kind of grated down
not being able
the
to
hard
admit
edges.
it's shit.
Yeah, that's what I thought anyway.
I think like so like we had him kind of like I said, like I think it was like the 5th Fast and Furious where he kind of like
the one in Brazil, right?
Yes,
that's
Rio.
That is one of my favourite ones.
And he absolutely and to give him credit, he is the best thing about that franchise post kind of like Fast and Furious 5. Like he is the one that kind of oozes charisma.
He saved it, probably.
Absolutely. Like I think it was kind of dwindling, to be honest with you. But he just comes in and he's not playing a particularly groundbreaking character, but he's just playing the cop who doesn't play by the rules.
Luke Hobbs.
You give him some paperwork, he's throwing that out the window.
Yeah.
His Under Armour shirts are getting tighter and tighter as the scene goes on.
A comically oversized hand pistol.
Yeah. And
Pistol. Hand pistol.
and I think that's obviously where it went uphill for him. And after that, obviously, a few of the films you mentioned, like the Jumanji sequels, the Warner Brothers, like Skyscraper and Rampage, which were like kind of big kind of disaster movies.
San Andreas.
And none of them are spectacular, but they are very entertaining. You get what you want out of it. Like, you're not expecting anything groundbreaking. Well, on the screen you will, because it is a skyscraper falling off the ground. So ground is breaking. But
a lot of skyscrapers in San Andreas. Actually.
Yeah. I think Rampage, I seem to remember. There's a few.
Yeah, a lot of destruction.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm starting to believe that groundbreaking maybe was the right.
More apt. Yeah.
But they're all very solid actioners. Like, they made a lot of money at the box office. Like, you're not going in expecting anything amazing, but you come out having a good time. Will you remember what happened, like, next week? No, probably.
There's not a lot of them around anymore either, if you think about it. Like, think about the 80s and 90s, there was loads of those. Kind of like throwaway action films. Like, so many every year.
Yeah.
And so many of them now that we look back on with, like, a revisionist eye and go, how great they were.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if that'll happen to those films, but...
It's hard to see, isn't it?
I think so, because there is something particularly sort of characterless and soulless about the overuse of the technology around it, I think.
Yeah.
Seems to go hand in hand with The Rock's career more as it kind of started to taper off.
Yeah. But, like, there is definitely...
It's a rarity. He is a kind of a weird throwback, in a way, to a period where those kind of films were more commonplace.
Yeah. Like, at his best, he's like, he's charismatic, he's charming, he can be funny, and he's believable enough in certain situations. Like I said, he's not like Hulk Hogan. He looks like a human being. Like, but and then you had the Jumanji sequels, which were better than they had any right to be. Quite frankly, I remember going in with such low expectations. And I think I was charmed by, like, both of them, to be honest with you. Again, not amazing, but they were funny. Like, and again, it's 2 hours gone, but you have a good time. And again, to be fair, I think this is part of the problem as well. It's similar to like some of the Marvel films. Like, you'll talk to someone about it in a few days afterwards. They'll be like, oh yeah, what was that film like? Yeah, it's all right. What happened? Don't know.
That happens to me when I watch good films.
But I think some of the problem was, like, because he had so many hits for a while, like, he was maybe starting to become a little bit less critical about maybe some of the, like, scripts he was reading, and maybe thinking more about, like, the box office and brand and
cultivating his image, moving forward,
and like, and oversaturation as well. Like, that's a real big thing. Like, after a while, and especially, like I said, all those films we mentioned before, all really entertaining, but then after a while, people are just like, but what else have you got?
Yeah.
For better or worse, like, that is the kind of culture we're in now. Like,
a lot faster moving now, I think, as well, that kind of turnover. Yeah. It's not as slow as it once was.
And there's a lot more options for people to entertain themselves these days. There's so many different films out there. There's so many different types of media. Like, cinemas are getting more expensive. There's like a million different streaming services. But, people are a bit more kind of like picky with what they're watching and what they're consuming nowadays. So if you're not keeping people interested after a while, like, you'll lose them. And I think
he was on the cusp of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was the descent into the kind of... I think even some of the kind of more forgettable, or kind of, as you say, the kind of more semi-enjoyable flicks that he made, like Rampage, etc., like, they felt like there was something in there, like a decision that was made. Whereas I think as time went on, like Red One, I mean...
Red Notice, Red One.
Red
Yeah.
shit.
I honestly think that they called it Red because of the Netflix branding.
Yeah. It's just that kind of like Marvelization of everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
really, really, really. I mean, I know by this point everyone's pretty much over superhero films, but you know, even by the standards of some of the slightly more bearable ones, it was dreadful. You know, it was
Right? Yeah.
really that kind of like quippy sense of humor, and they do things where like everything's sort of ironic. Or they meet a character who's supposed to be this jolly and they're just like horrible. Do you know what I mean? And that's where the joke is. It's like that kind of very carefully managed box office appeasing kind of manipulation of expectation, which doesn't do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
And you can tell they're like planning a franchise before the first one's even come out, and you're a bit guys, slow down.
Yeah.
You know, Flash Gordon made that mistake when they said the end ? And it was the end because they didn't make another one because nobody wanted to see another one.
Hey, that question mark, you know.
Except for me.
Yeah. I mean, it could do.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't actually, weirdly.
What, a new Flash Gordon film? Maybe The Rock could be in it.
Well, in this kind of
Red
like,
Gordon.
In this kind of Red Gordon. In this kind of like, you know, irony is a seller, isn't it? But very kind of, again, very marketable irony is a seller.
Oh, it's, I know
Completely
we've
undermines anything credible about it, but they don't care, do they?
we talked about it before already, but like, it is just so difficult to watch. It's like the kind of blackboard thing of scraping your hands along it. It's like, I don't know who it's meant to, who enjoys that unironically.
People who enjoyed it.
Really? Okay.
And it was hard because you don't want to be that person, because obviously everyone knows that you went to film school and watch films all the time. You don't want to be that guy there with a beret, you know, going, this is shit.
Yeah, it's like when my nephew likes the
Sean
Minecraft
Underloo.
movie, you know. It's like, well, of course you did. Like, you're who it was made for.
Idiot kid.
Emrys, if you're listening, I'm really sorry. You might have grown out of it by now, and you might be like looking at it with more critical eye. I don't think he's listening.
No, good, yeah. Why not?
Oh, did I? Yeah, I'll get him on it after this episode.
Yeah. Please don't listen to this one.
You did Rampage on this podcast. It's not available, but it's the early ones
With Alfie?
with Alfie and Alex, I think, because I remember designing the like artwork for.
Oh
it.
shit, we did.
Yeah. Strange, isn't it?
No, yeah.
From the vault. I will have that file somewhere. I
Yeah.
might put it out.
Dwayne's always been watching over us, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So how do you think this film, because it's interesting you said, you know, people want something else. Now, the reason that I'm kind of a bit cautious about that, and this is very anecdotal, so your mileage may vary with this, but whenever I've said to people in the workplace, and we say this quite a lot as a measuring stick for, as a microcosm for, you know, what everyone else is thinking or feeling about a film, but... When I'd spoken to people about it, it's The Rock, it's a new film, it's like just different to what he's done. There was a sense of trepidation from people.
Oh, really?
Because, you know, this is a real departure from the kind of thing, you know, because he has been, for like the last, 10, 15 years, arguably the most risk-averse, yet most hugely successful film star of our lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of that lack of risk-taking. That served him well. Until very recently, it served him very, very well. Now, I know he said he's quite clever in the choices that he's made, but ultimately every single one of those films is designed not to rock the boat, as you said, Lee, right? So, and all of a sudden, he's doing this film about a very troubled individual wrestling with some very kind of, you know, very sort of potent demons.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And... there's a kind of, and what I really admired about his performance more than anything else, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the film, but was like there was, you know, it was unflinching. He wanted to take that performance to those places, and I just wonder if it's because of that people are kind of being put off by it, because it isn't just like a slight deviation; it's a real jump, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I think some of it is, and I think it's hard to, like, This is probably his best performance as an actor. But it also, I think it's like his worst performing film at the box office,
Yeah.
which is obviously not a shock. I also think maybe some of it is to do with not the genre it's in. I think a lot of people are realistically put off by films about mixed martial arts. I think it's a bit different to boxing because you've had like your Raging Bulls and you've had your like Rockies, and obviously boxing is like a more historically significant sport.
Something gentlemanly about there, isn't it?
Yeah,
Even if that might have been lost now amongst the spectacle and the pomp.
yeah,
It has its origin in that kind of chivalrous,
like gentlemanly conduct sort
which
of
I think
thing.
is a theme of Smashing Machine, weirdly.
Absolutely, that's the irony of it is this when maybe mixed martial arts was probably more gentlemanly and kind of a bit more pure as a sport, really.
Its humble beginnings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's probably why it's put off a few people as well because
Yeah.
like people
Yeah.
like it's a tough sell going to like someone do you want to come and watch this like kind of MMA movie with me, like they're probably like, no, I'm good, thank you.
Give it a pass. Maybe they watch. Maybe if it got a digital release, it would be more popular.
Yeah,
Dare I say it? Like it is a tough sell to the cinema.
yeah,
But if someone's at home flicking through stuff, they'll be like more readily like, I'll give this a go, and if it's shit, I can pause it and I don't have to worry about it. Maybe it's one of those films a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny because it seems to me, and I'm not a big UFC person at all, unsurprisingly. But I think that it's not done enough to be accepted by open arms by the kind of UFC fan base.
no,
And it's not done enough to appease enough like film watchers. Do you know what I mean? So it's in an awkward space. And I think part of that is because of that kind of cynicism and the kind of troubled nature of his character. That kind of, I guess it doesn't kind of fit in line with the kind of trajectory of what the UFC is now and how massive it is. And again, that pomp and energy and the kind of ego is such a big selling point, I assume, of it from what I've seen on like YouTube clips. So I feel like it's gone against what that's about because it is a kind of like careful study of kind of like fractured masculinity and sort of addiction and all that kind of stuff, anger and portraying someone as someone as a result of this kind of obsession and addiction is a very difficult person to be around. But at the same time, as you say, obviously a lot of people who are kind of, I guess, more artistically attuned are going to be, because of the way culture is, maybe more diametrically opposed to the kind of UFC.
Yeah.
Because UFC did explode for a very particular reason.
yeah,
And I think there's a trapping there that I think a lot of people would just naturally be in opposition to.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
myself.
I think it's what I mean. I think we're already going into like talking about what we think of the film, but I think it is like from what we're saying, it's quite a hard film to kind of categorize in one way or the other because it's not really a fighting film.
No.
No, it's like a character study, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even really a biopic. It's more just 3 years in this guy's life. Really, and there's not like a lot of kind of like overly dramatic cues. It's even shot even in the way it's shot, and that will probably come across in the advertisements. It's all shot with like maybe like cameras that were kind of prevalent in that kind of early kind of home box office kind of like pay-per-view fights.
Yeah, it has that.
There's a shaky, scrappy feel to it, isn't there?
It's not
Yeah.
quite videotape, but it's like 16mm. I don't think it was, but they've definitely treated it as such. Yeah. I think this film was badly marketed, and I also think what damaged it, going briefly aside from The Rock, was the fact there was only one half of the Safdie brothers. I think that it wasn't a rift, it was like an amicable split apparently. But Uncut Gems, Dwayne Johnson must have seen Uncut Gems and thought, if my career's ever in the shitter, I'm going to work with these guys, because people's perception of Adam Sandler was kind of, they were waiting for something surprising, and they knew he had it in him because of Punch Drunk Love. But
Yeah.
like, I think only having half of them there might have soured people's
Interesting.
perception
Yeah,
of
I'd
it.
not considered that.
I just think that
I think it has legs, though.
yeah. And I also think I actually was really surprised by the stylistic choices that Smashing Machine made, because it was a lot more left field than I was expecting it to be. But the marketing didn't push for that, and it for me, as like a person who weirdly I quite enjoy sitting down at a cinema and being really surprised and basically having the middle finger stuck up at me, but no, you're going to watch this, that kind of thing. That's I like that, being like surprised, and
Yeah, of course.
and I think the marketing, although the marketing shouldn't really do this, it did sort of
Steer
make
it back to more generic territory.
it looked
perhaps.
really generic.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
I agree.
worried about it. I was really worried about it going in.
It's because you're like, it's marketing it like it's going to be like a raging bull, but it's not a raging bull. Like, it's
No.
a completely different animal. And any time like you even kind of invite that comparison, you're always going to fall short.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
Raging Bull, like,
Yeah,
it's, one of the greatest films ever made. But I think it is a shame, because it's a very good film.
Oh, it's very, it really surprised me actually, and
Yeah.
I think actually it's the of the Safdies, counting Josh, their career, their characters are usually quite horrible, and you're with them, but they're horrible, right? And actually, Mark Kerr is the nicest of all of them, even though he's a very damaged guy.
You haven't seen the ping pong ball one yet.
Oh yeah, Marty Supreme. Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks like he's gonna. Yeah, that looks even more generic and conventional.
Well,
than the market for this one.
Yeah.
Could surprise me as well. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you talk about that kind of the battle between the generic and the kind of artistic inclinations of of Josh Safdie, because I felt the film was kind of like that. It was a battle, I think. You've got
okay.
the kind of like biopic-y elements.
Yeah,
which,
hit the
you say,
markers. Yeah,
weren't as conventional as they, nowhere near conventional.
No.
But you could sense there was a battle between the narrative architecture of the sports biopic
yeah,
and his sort of stylistic. And I felt that, broadly speaking, Safdie's won the day on that, because, like you say, there was but I felt like even his more frenetic moments, and even the soundtrack, I think the soundtrack was one of its more kind of sort of quintessentially Safdie brothers in its kind of the way it was deployed. It was almost discordant and underneath the kind of chaos of the fight, but kind of never deviating from what was happening. But I do think that the film for me was a battle between those two forces.
Okay, yeah.
And it's interesting that you pick up on that as a kind of a failure in marketing, because obviously it's marketing's job to make something look as palatable as possible, right?
Yeah, and it sort of succeeded in that, but it did too good a job. I think it should have embraced its stylistic deviations, like you say, with the soundtrack and that Uncut Gemsy style.
Yeah, there are moments of real
energy.
freneticism.
Yeah.
And the kind of, as you said, that unflinching. The kind of being, taken under the wing of a lead character who is flawed, or in the case of his other films, deeply troubled, and sometimes very nasty individuals. Whereas, as you say, Mark Kerr is clearly a man that's haunted, but he's by no means evil.
No, they portrayed him
nasty.
as quite a positive force in the film, ultimately, although obviously not without I think the thing that the film was concerned with most was how you deal with pain, basically, and like even the way Dwayne Johnson moves in it, you can tell he's in sort of constant pain.
Yeah, I thought that his movement was almost alien. It was weird. Yeah,
really interesting. Like, that's definitely one of the strengths, I think, is how it dealt with that, how it dealt with pain, and how pain plays a big part in the plot and the beats of the plot leading up to the conclusion of that. And I'll go into it a little bit later on, but really liked it.
I think it's very good as well at kind of subverting your expectations in terms of, like, you're expecting these moments of like explosive anger, and especially again when you look at kind of the frenetic energy of like the Safdies kind of previous work and stuff, you think it's just going to be kind of this frenetic kind of all over the place, and you think there's going to be these moments where it's going to be like, you know,
the camera spinning round someone, right?
Yeah. But like I think my favourite scene in the film is when he initially loses that fight, his first fight.
Right after the argument with his girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's leaving the ring, and it's in like, I think it's in like one shot, and it follows him going down the lift. And he's just silent. He's really tense, and you're thinking like he's gonna go into his dressing room and lose his shit. You think he's gonna trash the place.
Yeah.
You think, you know, you potentially think like the worst. Like if his partner's in there, there's gonna be something physical going on. And you're expecting this, and you're really tense, and you're built up, and you're like, oh no. And then he goes in, he sits down on the chair, and he just kind of quietly sobs.
Yeah, that's a good scene.
And it was really powerful for me. Like again, you just see this kind of like person who, you know, you look at him, he's really physically intimidating, he's imposing. Like if he wanted to, he could kind of, you know, like turn your face into mincemeat.
Yeah.
But there's just this kind of tenderness, and even this sort of person has this vulnerable side. And again, you're expecting him to be that.
Yeah.
But he's not, and it was just like a really kind of moving scene for me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, because we touched on it when we saw each other on the weekend. Yeah, I know, I agree. Like, I think it's particularly interesting that there's almost this kind of mask that you wear in these kind of professions. It's almost intrinsic. Like, you have to be this kind of idealized view. And it's that idealized view which is arguably part of the reason why UFC is doing so well now, I would argue. Not to anyone who associate with UFC's face, because I want to keep mine intact. But you know, not that I'd meet any of them anyway. But do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, there's a clear, you know, obviously, like you say, there's tenderness, there's a human under all that. And I thought one of the other key themes of the film was the kind of like the private and the personal. And Safdie's kind of willingness to linger in the personal really did an excellent job of kind of undermining all of that bravado and that kind of wounded chivalry, which is such a big part of, you know, Mark Kerr's character and who he is. And obviously, there's some legitimacy to that. I think the way he handles his defeat so graciously on outwardly. Obviously, I think he knows that he has to. He can't be sort of like
he's a sportsman.
Yeah, he's a sport. Yeah, he's got a sportsman, you know, sporting attitude. But I think it's those private moments, like you say, that are the most impactful. I think one of the scenes that really stuck out for me, I think we talked about this earlier, but it was the scene when he goes to the theme park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you said to you, right? Yeah, as well. So like him and his partner go on that ride, and he doesn't want to go on it because he's scared of his stomach.
Yeah, he's got a weak stomach.
And you could you watch him, and he's not discomforted by watching on the ride. He's discomforted by the idea that he can't go on it because it's almost like admitting weakness. And then it ends with the scene of him watching the demolition derby.
Yes,
and they're smashing into each other, and you see him wincing. It's like, I don't know. I almost thought, like, is that like his way of thinking? Like, we do this, like, we're literally destroying ourselves for people, the entertainment of others. We're almost kind of putting not just our bodies on the line, but we're almost kind of subduing these parts of ourselves that are so important to facilitate everyone else's enjoyment. You know? And I just thought that was a really amazing moment as well, and a great subtle. It was the subtleties, I think, in his performance which really won it for me. I was so taken aback by the background, the internal work that he clearly did. And that extends to Blunt as well, who's sensational.
Emily Blunt's fantastic.
Yeah. But you know, it's just like I was so, and it's not that I thought The Rock didn't have it in him. I expected him to be good, but I really didn't expect him to be this good. Yeah. You know, I was like, fucking hell! Like the internal work here, is absolutely superb. Like
the way he handled obsessiveness as well, because his character is very particular, and one of the ways he deals with the initial loss is and you like you're really good point, Lee, of saying you're expecting him to smash something. Basically, you're expecting him to go mental, and instead he goes up to one of the adjudicators when there's a language barrier, and he's trying to communicate that he's been kicked in the head multiple times, and he's like, "That's not allowed. That's not allowed." And it's almost like someone, like a child whose brother's been cheating at like a game, and they can't let it go, and they have to have their, even though there's it's like totally not the right time to bring it up. He's like, I have to say there's been cheating here, and he like can't, and then it extends to his personal life as well, and like she puts the wrong banana in his smoothie or something, and he's like,
wrong milk.
He's very quietly angry about it, but very gracious as well. And he's like, he's really such a gentle man in some respects. Obviously, his mind can be very subdued and gentle, and I think obviously the opiates help that side of him come out, which is why I think he gets comfort from them. It's because his restlessness disappears, and I think that's one of the ways he sort of numbs it. I've not actually seen the documentary, but I imagine it touches on that a little bit. That's for me, that is a powerful point from his performance. Yeah. No, really, really special, that moment.
Yeah. It's full of those little moments. I think
Emily Blunt's character, I can't remember her name, but she has a bit of an arc in this. It starts out, she's almost a stereotypical companion to a kind of a UFC fighter, and actually her tolerance for his behaviour and her tolerance generally starts to dip quite a bit, and she sort of, by the end of it, she's a lot more complex than I thought she was going to be, actually.
And has her own demons herself, so it's I think it could have easily been a kind of like stereotypical kind of like supportive wife in the corner who's just kind of like, you've got this, and there's like obviously elements of that, but again, because this is a real life story, it's a loving but inherently, and not just on one side, it's a very dysfunctional but loving relationship, which is quite refreshing in that way as well, because it's not just like one dimensional. It's not just like she's the suffering wife who's supportive, but he's treating her badly. There's moments when he is, but it's she's also got some kind of toxic kind of traits of her own, and her own kind of substance problems as well. And I think it, like, because she's not in it a lot, but when she is, she makes a real impact.
Yeah. So scenes at home really stuck with me. Huge amount. More than I thought they would, actually.
It's interesting that you talk about the idea of her almost starting out in that the kind of familiar archetype of being that kind of meek sort of presence, as going, "Go on, hun."
Yeah.
I think that's. I don't know if I'm giving Safdie too much credit, but it feels deliberate that because that's how certainly Mark Kerr's inner circle view her, view her as something that she should be. They view her when she lingers for too long as an invasive force. But as you say, I think as the film goes on, it pulls that kind of veneer away, and I think you do see something a bit more complicated and more kind of rewarding in the pursuit of what the film's trying to do in trying to convey.
I thought that the way the film handled teetering on the edge of relapse was really interesting, because quite often films about addiction kind of have that moment where they give in to the temptation, and in this he never does, but he almost does at points. It's like it's bubbling. Like the bit I remember was his trainer injures his hand really badly.
From a previous fight, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's in like intense searing pain, and obviously the person most qualified to administer these opiates to soothe the pain is Mark Kerr, and he does it so, and you can tell, not because he's like shaking, but because there's something in his eyes that he does, and he's just like, in 3 seconds it'll all go away, and he just is so. I really liked that about that scene in particular. Really hit home, and I thought it was going to go one way. I thought I was like, he's going to relapse, and he doesn't, and it's like a testament to the good side of him and the kind of strong-willed side of him. I think that he didn't. And I think it was that's a really good scene actually. Thinking about it. Yeah.
I liked that he kind of undermined again, to go back to that duel. I think that where Safdie won the day in terms of beating the kind of conventional sporty, biopic-y element. I mean, I guess he's following a kind of real true story, so he had to, but obviously having Mark Kerr lose.
Yes.
Which is the most important
and his
fight of his career.
His friend wins.
His friend winning.
Yeah.
Almost shifting focus to him.
Yeah.
It's quite a bold move, I thought.
He sits on the sofa, doesn't he? He's sort of allowed to have his moment in the limelight.
Yeah.
And his friend is portrayed largely as being a supporter of Mark's career. And then, to have that, it's quite, you feel good for him. And you're seeing this other character experience a different kind of pain.
Is he a UFC fighter, that fella?
He is. I can't remember his name. Obviously, I'm not a big UFC person.
No.
I think a lot of the fighters in there were from legitimate backgrounds. I think even the trainer from the aforementioned scene is actually playing himself.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I think his name is Baz Rutten. I think it is. Like, I think he was like a MMA pioneer from back in the day.
Oh wow.
But Mark Coleman is the person in the film. I don't know who plays him, but he was a MMA fighter. You've got the world heavyweight boxing champion Usyk, who was the fighter that Mark Kerr first loses to, who kicks him in the head.
Yeah.
But I think it's impressive because a lot of the time when you get these sort of people in, like, it's really hard to kind of get a performance out of them. But I think maybe some of it is to do with having all those people around and the way it's shot. I think there is a kind of authenticity to it, and because it's not like I said, it's not an overly dramatic film in a lot of ways. Like it's not melodramatic.
No.
So they're all used and utilised well.
Yeah.
Where it's maybe kind of hiding some potential kind of flaws in performance by not relying on it too much.
Yeah, I think Coleman's performance, the longer he was on the screen,
the less convincing
he was on. But I quite like the scene with him and The Rock when he basically confronts him about his drug addiction.
Yes, yeah.
There's something kind of like strangely wooden about it, in the sense that, and it kind of again suits maybe it sort of serves the themes more broadly, either accidentally or deliberately, I don't know, but like the idea about the role that he's playing in terms of as a man in this environment. He's showing a sentimentality. You know, he's travelled across the country to see his friend, confront him about his drug abuse, and isn't afraid to kind of go into the nitty gritty of, you know, the kind of person he is and the kind of emotional state that he's in. I mean, his response, you know, his way of coaching him through it is pretty generic.
Yeah.
I mean, but like, you know, the fact that he's at least making the effort.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's probably because it's their world. Like, so it's probably easier
really
to kind of coax a performance out of these guys and have like a more authentic kind of world than it would be just getting some kind of like a bunch of actors from Hollywood to pretend to be UFC fighters.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
You know, so I think you can kind of maybe overlook some, you know, moments when they're maybe on screen a little bit too long. You know?
Agreed.
Because I think you're more open to buying into it.
Yes.
It's very Safdie as well, employing people who are familiar with the world that their characters are meant to inhabit, like Heaven Knows What, I think basically starred actual homeless people. Am I right in thinking that?
Oh, right, okay.
I think that's sort of part of their oeuvre is getting performances that in that fashion.
Yeah.
Less so in their later work, but even actually, I think even in Uncut Gems and Good Time, there are people in that film who have lived that experience for real. I think that's sort of part of their thing. So it makes total sense for him to hire real UFC guys, and physically as well. It's very clear from. They don't need any exposition, do they?
No.
You know what their profession is just by looking at them.
Yeah, their ears are a giveaway.
Yes, your cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
And I think they've probably been, I mean, not just around like Mark Kerr, they've probably been around people with their own demons. They know what the pains are like. They know, maybe some of the drugs these people might take to get over said pain. In fact, they might have even tried it themselves.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Obviously,
The Rock could know as well, right? Being a wrestler.
Exactly, because the physical toll is similar, but it's almost more prolonged because as professional wrestlers, when you're doing it full time, you're wrestling kind of every day except for Christmas, really. So I think it's a really impressive piece of work, to be honest with you, and even though obviously it's quite clearly a conscious decision to take this turn into the more dramatic for like The Rock, I think, to be honest, I think it's a smart move.
Yeah.
And like the box office hasn't been amazing, but that's not everything.
No.
And this will stand the test of time on home video. Like, he might even get an award or two, and I think he'd be more than
he'd be deserving of it.
Of it, really. So, I think
Sort of been overshadowed a little bit, hasn't it? I think that lack of sustained interest, I think will hurt it in the award season, I think.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if it does. Hopefully there's a second wind for it, or it has this kind of word of mouth, but obviously, they said time will tell with it, but I think taking the work for what it is, I think it's probably his best film of his career so far.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And I want to sort of stay on that a little bit, but about The Rock and where he goes next. But before that, were the things we didn't like about the film. I have a couple of minor gripes, but I just wondered if you guys had any yourselves.
I do, yeah. I think ours might be quite similar, but I think the dialogue could have done with
that was my problem.
Yeah, we could have done with some brushing up at points. I think the performances work despite it sometimes, as opposed to being in harmony with it. It's just very generic at points, and it out of every aspect of the film that falls into that category of biopic-y, Bohemian Rhapsody kind of style.
Yeah,
that dialogue does do that, and it's odd because previous Safdie work has been. I don't know if he wrote it, but
he co-wrote it, I think.
Right, yeah. I just think that it was a bit.
It did the thing where it was all the internal work that we were praising earlier. It sort of undermined it.
Right,
There'd be scenes where The Rock would be like, "Oh, there's no other high like it," and he says it about 3 or 4 times. Yeah, we get it. Do you know what I mean? We know it's important to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it is. It's a very, like I say, a minor gripe. But I felt the show don't tell thing. It's sometimes the script was the opposite, which again is surprising given the caliber of those involved. But like you say, the performances are good enough to kind of gloss over it.
It just needed another pass, I think. Basically.
Yeah, just a couple of those scenes, just with a pen, just get a couple of.
Let the camera, let the performances do the work, not the dialogue.
You built such a great character. Let that do it.
Let the eyes do it because he's capable of it.
Yeah, the moments of silence, or the moments of kind of tension, or the kind of lack of tension. They were so good. Sometimes it just didn't need the dialogue to ruin it, really. It's like it's over explaining it, just like I have this point, really.
No, it's just all three of us
lose an item of clothing, you.
All three of us just have the same opinion about the dialogue. Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
is.
it's a minor gripe. And I
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
have any other issues with it, really. No, I can
It looks
think of.
nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
No, I think I'd maybe have liked a little bit more Emily Blunt.
Yeah,
Like,
actually.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, yeah.
But look, in a way, you could almost say that's the good performance of actually she leaves you wanting more.
True.
But I want more. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that would be maybe the other thing. But other than that, I think it's like I say, I think it's a very solid picture.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say solid would be the best way to describe it.
Definitely.
Where does The Rock go from this point now then? Because obviously box office figures don't lie. And for someone that is obviously so well attuned to that as a metric for success, and the people around him assumingly have the similar mindset. I know he's come out on social media and said it's not about the money.
Yeah, he did,
It's
didn't he?
about the performance and all that kind of stuff. And it seemed like way more of an earnest defence than, as you said, any of his other shitty sort of blockbuster films. But
Yeah.
I just wonder where he goes from here. Because, I mean, he could afford to do films like this for the rest of his career and he would be fine. So, what do you think?
Well, I think it's one of those, like, it's a problem. I mean, obviously we've talked about it ourselves. It's a problem with talking about box office because, like, it's a big part of it, but it's also not the most important thing.
No.
And it doesn't, like, a film being successful or not at the box office is not a sign of a good or bad movie. Like, like one of the most successful films at the box office is Transformers, and that's a heap of shite. This isn't a low budget film, but it's also not like a massive budget either.
No.
So, to be honest with you, it'll probably eventually make its money back via home video or via international distribution or whatever it is. It's not gonna smash any records or anything like that. It'll probably just maybe like break even. I think he'd be better off doing a few more kind of films of this level. Keep challenging himself because, like he's shown in this film, like with the right vehicle, like he is an incredible like screen actor. Weird. I'd quite like him to do like a almost like a Elmore. Like, I know he's already done one and it wasn't very good, but almost like an Elmore Leonard sort of
Ensemble.
adaptation.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost like a mid-budget kind of funny crime picture. I can see him doing really well doing something like that.
Like a Shane Black style thing? Or?
Yeah, like a Shane Black, Good
Shane Black.
Yeah, good Shane Black. I know that he's been linked to doing a Scorsese.
That was the thing I was going to mention.
Right,
That's kind of what inspired the question.
Yeah.
Really, was that, yeah.
There's a Hawaii set kind of gangster picture that Scorsese's circling, which if gets made, I think that could be quite exciting as well.
Interesting to see what Scorsese does with the gangster film because we said this in relation to what was that fucking bang average De Niro gangster
Alto
film?
Nights.
Alto Nights.
Yeah.
I just had the feeling that it was best that De Niro left gangster films behind.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if it's the same for Scorsese after The Irishman. However, if he's going to take it to a new locale with a completely different sort of leading man, I'm open to it.
I think the good thing about Scorsese is he is a bit more flexible. Like he will like and he's still, for a very short 80-something Italian man, he's got a lot of energy. Like, and he brings a lot of energy
more
to
than
anything
I do
he
now.
works on. Yeah, exactly. Tired just talking about him, to be honest with you.
I sweat more talking about him.
And he's already planning his next 5 pictures.
I know. Fair play to him.
Because that's unfortunate thing with Scorsese. Like he's linked to so many projects, so you just kind of hope this one gets it over the line, really. Because I think it's such an interesting combination of performers, like Scorsese, The Rock, apparently like DiCaprio, Blunt again, like that could be something really exciting. If they get that going,
Just got to keep them
Yeah.
keep them alive
That's
for long enough, which is a depressing thought.
Yeah. Apple TV will pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no one else will they? For Scorsese
no.
anymore.
Yeah. I quite like to see him do some producing. Take a year off, do a bit of producing.
Well, he does have a production company, doesn't he? 7 Bucks.
Yeah, but I feel like he's always starring in them, isn't he?
Yeah.
that's
So I
very
reckon
good.
if he just takes a step back, has a bit of time, maybe sits in a couple of, the post sessions, learns about that a bit. I don't know, and then when
maybe
he
direct something.
oh mate, that'd be cool. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is. No, I'd watch it regardless. Yeah, Race to Witch Mountain 2. Fingers crossed.
Alto Nights 2.
Oh, yeah,
CGI Robert De Niro.
Shot exclusively in Vancouver on one soundstage in an afternoon. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm up for it.
And to be honest, yeah, I'd be happy for him to work with Safdie again. I feel like
Yeah.
they're a very good.
It's a fruitful
I
collaboration.
think they work together. Yeah.
The on-set videos, I know obviously you have to take those with a pinch of salt, but it did seem that they had a good thing going.
Yeah.
And it must have been quite, I wonder about that from Safdie's point of view, because it must have been quite a daunting prospect, because obviously not only are you working with a lot of people who come from this kind of background of UFC and boxing, but you're also working with an actor who, I can't imagine.
He's got a reputation.
Yeah, and it's not like he's going to be someone that if he doesn't like something, he ain't going to do it, is he?
No. He's going to go and piss in a bottle and hand it to his assistant. It's apparently something he did.
Really?
And admitted to it. Yeah. A bit, not to end it on a low note. His performance was fantastic. Maybe he sacked that off. Maybe there was just...
At least he didn't make him drink it, did he?
No, I don't think so. No.
So bad then.
There's a
No,
video...
Bear Grylls was on.
Yeah.
He polished that down.
Mixed in with his Huel.
Nice.
This episode is sponsored by you.
Well, keeps
So
him,
it's brought to you by
keeps
Huel.
him warm because he's in the Thames a lot, isn't he? Bear Grylls.
Yeah,
Loves it
fair
in the
enough.
Thames, baptising,
Yeah.
the masses.
Near the estuary or in
I don't know.
in
just-
central London.
The one
I
of
don't
him
know.
with Russell Brand. This is a deviation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, found God.
The less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Outro.
Outro.
Questing the cinematic void.
There you have it then. The Smashing Machine.
Starring Bear Grylls. No.
Bear Grylls. Yeah. Bear Grylls, Emily Blunt, and that's it. Thanks so much for coming on, Lee. Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, man,
It's
always
been
a blast.
pleasure. I can't wait for the next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now we've got the visual element sort of down.
We've got like 60% there, I think. Expect some changes.
Yeah, we've got a few ideas, haven't we?
Yeah. Be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll end up just being at home with the Buckleys at the end of it. Just 2 people. Anyway. We're gonna have a bit of a break to focus on a creative project that we've been
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, the short film we mentioned briefly a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
It's just
It's hard to meet up and cut it when we have this as well. basically.
yeah. We both work full time.
Yeah. So we're gonna focus on that, get the ball rolling on that, and we'll come back for Halloween.
Yeah, I think a Halloween themed episode. It'd be, it's my favourite time of the year
For
And I
films,
just love-
certainly.
Yeah.
Will you guys be dressing up for the occasion?
I was thinking that.
Can,
I think we should.
tease the audience with.
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be
a couple of
good.
witch outfits, maybe.
Maybe. I'm notoriously shit at costumes and costuming, so
Yeah.
I'll try and make an effort. But regardless, it'll be funny at the very least. If I turn up in a Shaun of the Dead outfit, then I've forgotten about it until the night
You've
before.
done that before, haven't you?
Yeah. It's because I can't. I'm like, oh shit, yes.
No, it's because you don't fit into that skeleton costume anymore.
Oh, I could find that skeleton costume.
That could be it.
Yeah.
How really sort of accentuate the bulge as well.
Yeah, definitely. Put a few. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
put a
need
few
to.
cushions up.
So it'd probably be a week or two, probably a
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But
little break.
in the meantime, thanks for getting to the end of an episode. Thanks again to you, Lee. Love you and can't wait to have you back.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
Catch you then.
Look after yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.